Hello everyone, it's easy paint with me on a Sunday, and we did a fox last time. This week I'm going to do this hare. So I've done it in exactly the same way. Basically I drew it out, made sure I was happy with it, and then I used the trace down paper to put it onto my watercolour sketchbook. I will provide the sketch for you, for those of you that don't want to do the drawing, which is actually perfectly fine. We can enjoy painting and not need to be good at drawing. It's okay to trace things and paint them. It's all down to whatever you prefer, basically. I don't believe that there's a right and a wrong when it comes to doing our paintings. So let's stick a little clip on there. I've put some washi tape around the edge, and the palette that I'm going to use today is a Peganol palette. And in this palette I have got this is from Aliona's Aliona Creates, I think her channel is called. Anyway, it's her colour, Chartreuse, and so is the Burnt Sienna. I've got oh no, it's not. Take that back. Right, Aliona Creates, that's her Chartreuse colour, and then the rest are Michael Harding. So lavender, burnt sienna, cobalt teal, buff titanium and indigo. So those are the colours that I have, just 6 colours. And I've got, because this has come out of one of my travel sets, I just decided I wanted to use it. I've got one of these little very small pieces of sponge here, and why not, let's use it. So let's bring some water in, and I think for our little hare I'm going to use a size 8 brush, and I need some kind of browns, which I've kind of got going on here, but for those of you that don't know, we can mix our burnt sienna with our indigo, and that will give us a brown. And if we want to make that a lighter brown, we can add some buff titanium. Let's just make that a bit browner. There we go. And you can keep playing with your burnt sienna, indigo and buff titanium. Obviously you can use a burnt sienna on its own as well to get lots of different browns. Now I want quite a dark brown first of all. So let's just try and, there we go. Excuse me. Right, so I'm going to start by making some nice dark bits around the ears, much like we did with the fox. And as you can see, we're not being careful. We don't need to be careful, because we're going to smudge our edges again, which is fine. And then I'm going to do this darker brown going down around the front of the hare's face, and then I'm going to start making it lighter. So I'm going to be adding more buff titanium just to make this bit a bit lighter, and maybe around the nose I'm just going to make that a bit redder with our burnt sienna. bearing in mind that most of these things, the paints nearly always dry up a lot lighter than they are originally. So then I'm going to do this first kind of front, should we call it front section, in more of a reddy brown, and then bring in some of that buff titanium, especially around this front section here, and then just really mixing my colours up on my palette, going down these front legs, and then I'm going to keep with my lighter colour going down here, but with some more reddy bits coming in with our burnt sienna in places, so that we're getting a real mixture there. And then I want this kind of section here to be a bit whiter, and then maybe some white on the legs. You can use a picture of a hare that you find if you want to kind of copy the kind of colorings that are going on. And I want to make the middle of my ear a nice red. I'll leave my eye till later. Now I'm just going to add a bit more interest. And then, much like with the hair, with the box that we did last week, I'm just going to blend some of this, blend it out, blur it out. Mainly because it then gives almost the impression of our little hair moving somewhere. Quite a lot of red around there. I can just take a little bit of that off. And just tone it down a bit, maybe. There. So that we've kind of got this blurry effect around the edge. And then I think I'm going to get my bigger brush. So for this one, I'm just going to add some more water all around the edge. And then I'm going to start bringing some greens in. So I'm going to take this very luscious chartreuse colour at the bottom. And then I'm going to put my chartreuse in with my brown, because that's going to give me more of an olive brown as I move up the page. So it's all kind of blurring in. And then I'm going to add a little bit of my indigo to make a slightly different green for around the top here. And so we've got everything just blending in, and then just so that we've got some more interest, we'll dab a bit more, dabbity dab, so that we can see that we're starting to get this lovely greenery around our hair. And then, while it's still wet, you take my indigo and my chartreuse and get quite a nice bit more chartreuse, a nice green going on. There we go, quite a dark green going on. And I'm going to get some grasses in there. And we can even take our burnt sienna and just add some of that in. To tie in with the burnt sienna that we've used with our hair. And I think that needs to bleed out a bit more. So if you find you've got some little gaps, you can just go over them. And because we've not been too particular about how we're doing our hair, although that has now bled everywhere, but we will be sorting all of this out and tidying up once we've dried this off. So we've got our basics in there. Let's dry. Okay, we've got our basics in and we've dried. So now let's get a little bit more detail in there, if you like. So let's go back to mixing a bit more of a dark brown. And you can see I'm doing all of this on a very very small palette, so it's definitely doable. And I'm just gonna sharpen up. So I like all the fuzziness, but I want to just sharpen up some of it so that our rabbit has got a bit more definition going on. So we'll just let that blend a bit more. Okay, and I want to give some more definition where these lines are. Make them a bit darker. So I go in, and then afterwards with just a damp brush, I just soften the edges. And I want that to be a lot lighter in there. Like so. And now you can see he's kind of got some better colouring going on. And we need to do the eye. So let's take a bit of our burnt sienna for our eye. Okay. And we're going to need our white gel pen again. Do I need a bit more on these legs? I think maybe we do. Let's just grab a bit more of this darker brown at the bottom here, and maybe a bit of a stripy bit going on there. Yeah, that helps to define those legs a bit more. So, and just, yeah, I like that a lot better, actually. And maybe we need to do the same with these front legs, and just so as it gives them more of a 3D look, really. Yeah, I like that better. Right, I need that to dry, but while it's drying, we can go back to our nice dark green. So this is how I would work when I'm outside on tiny little palette like this, and I'm just keep using what's there, really. But that does mean that everything is going to tie in really nicely. All of our colours are going to be consistent throughout the painting. So let's get some real crossy bits, and maybe a few thicker ones by going on the side of our brush. So that we've got a bit more texture going on. Right, let's dry that and then come in with maybe some bleed proof white and our white gel pen. Okay, let's go in with our gel pen now, and we can start to see some of these. Just get some of these just where we did the black markings. We're just going to get our little lines in. And maybe have some going down these legs there. So we've got this nice kind of white patch at the front there. And we're just adding a bit of white in there, and maybe we'll add a white dot, and maybe we'll even have a little bit on this ear too. Yeah, that's looking much better to me. But I want my bleed proof white now. And I fill it up with paint, and then I get quite a lot of water on there, so that I can, I'm just going to use this so that I can get the enough wet paint on there to do these splats. And then we've got those little white bits, just, I don't know, just giving a little splash of white, of movement, of just lightening it up a little bit. Yeah. Is Armour Darks dark enough? Maybe there's not enough dark in this picture. Maybe it's all too mid-tone. We've got lights, but we haven't really got any darks. So I'm going to darken this part up even further. And what I might do to do that, and to give it some texture, is to see if I can find, what colour are you? No. Okay, here we go. Castle Earth. This is a luminance. It's a brown. And I really just want to darken some of that up. But as you can see, it also gives us some texture there. And then, yes, we've got a darker green, dark sap green. This is luminance. And I really just want to get some darker, because it was all looking too much mid-tone. I'm just adding some more dark in places, and personally I think that really helps. But yeah, there we go. Let's take our washi tape off. And there we have our lovely spring hair. So I'm going to put my stamp on this. Which way round you go? That way round. There we are. There's my little stamp. And with my pen, I'm just going to label this up as April 2025. And there we have it. I think, you know, just that smudging helps it look as if he's kind of moving a bit more. And yeah, it's rather cute. One little, not rabbit, hare. One little hare for you to have a go at. And maybe you've learnt something with seeing me do all my mixing. Very few colours used. We used the chartreuse, which was this kind of lime green. We used burnt sienna. We used buff titanium and indigo. And all of my mixing was in one tiny little space. So there you go. Have fun with that one, everyone. I will put a link to the sketch below. I hope you have a go. Bye for now.